Okay, looking at question number 14, this is the term-to-term sequence, term-to-term rule for a sequence. The first three terms in the sequence are 1, 5, and 13. Write down the next term in this sequence. So the question has told you multiply by 2 and add. So what is the next 13? 13 ko multiply by 2 and then add 3. Very good. So 2 into 13 plus 3. What is the answer? 29. And what about the next term? 2 into 29 plus 3. Write it down. Write it down. If you do not write it down, you'll not be able to understand the entire concept. This is called term-to-term rule. You perform certain operations on a particular term to get your next term. Is that clear? So what is the answer for this one? Manually karna 2 into 29 without using a calculator. Everyone do it on your own, even if others are responding. You must do these calculations on your own. Okay, I am writing the answer. Trusting you people with the values, it's 61. Everyone, please verify it on your own. Now, what about part B1? This is a term to term for a different sequence. Write down the fourth term of this sequence. Yes, class. The question has told us the second and the third one. Now, what do we do? Be very careful while squaring. Square minus 4 squared, subtract 5. Minus 4, very good, is 16 minus 5, which is 11. Even if you have done these questions, do it again. Consider these as fresh questions that you're just doing and attempt it again. Write down the two possible values for the first term in the sequence. First term, I do not know the first term. I'll consider it as an unknown x. When I would have squared it, subtracted 5, what would I get? Minus 1. I would have got the second term. Is that right? First term is the unknown x. I square it. I subtract 5 from it and I get the second term. I'll know the second term. So we develop an equation. 5 goes on that side. Minus 1 plus 5 is 4. Whenever you take square roots on your own, you always take a plus minus. पहले मैं दोनों side बता दूं, आप squaring root on both sides, square root on both sides. So the square root of 4 is 2, and until unless x is a quantity which cannot be negative, you take, whenever we are taking roots, we will consider both possibilities plus and minus. If the question has given you a root, the question will specify that whether the root is positive or negative. Is this clear? Why you don't have to consider both possibilities. But when you are taking a root on your own, you need to consider both possible. Now, if x was a length, then we know it cannot be negative. If x was representing a number of people, it cannot be negative or it cannot be in decimals. So understand what the unknown quantity is representing. Is this clear? Okay, we'll speed up now because next questions are relatively easy. Two villages, Foxby and Glanton. I'll expect you people to sketch this on your notepads, on your registers. Okay, you understand what we are doing. Calculate the time Abdul left Foxby. Along the footpath from Foxby to Glanton, he walks for 2 hours and 14 minutes and arrives at Glanton at 15:10. What are we supposed to do? 15:10 में से क्या minus करना है? 2 hours and 14 minutes. I've given you people a trick for doing this. I know you can do it even by using your brain. Is this what you're supposed to do? Yes, class. But you cannot subtract 10 minutes from 40. Is that right? 60 plus 10 karenge. So the same thing can be written as 1470 minus 240. 1470 किसी को बताने के लिए it's the wrong way to tell time, but for calculations we can use it. If I tell you भाई कि it's 2:80 हो रहे हैं, you laugh at me, but for calculations I can do this. Is this clear or not? Now you can subtract. What do you get? Okay. Thank you. It's 14. Sorry, my bad. Now you can subtract. 7 में से carry करो 1 यहाँ आ जाएगा. 10 minus 4 is 6 and 6 minus 1 is 5. So the answer is this clear, class? So understand these calculations for part B. Says the distance by road between Foxby and Glanton is 15 kilometers. A bus travels along the road between Foxby and Glanton. The bus journey takes 12 minutes. The distance is provided, which is 15 kilometers, and the time is given as 12 minutes. What are we supposed to do? What is speed? Average speed is very good. It is total distance divided by total time. I've told you people never just focus on getting the answer, understand what we are doing and why we are doing so. We know the distance in kilometers, but we need the time in hours. We need the time in hours. So first we need to convert the time, which is 12 minutes. I've told you how to do it. Multiply line of fraction. Minutes कहाँ लिखना चाहिए मुझे? Okay, if I write it up, how will I cancel it? I need to cancel minutes. तो minutes कहाँ लिखूं मैं? Minutes नीचे आ गया and hours ऊपर आ गया. 1 hour is, I know you can just do it directly as well, but this method helps you when you need to do complicated conversions. सही है? So 12 upon 60 करोगे तो कितना आएगा? 1 upon 5. Is that right? You simplify it. It's 12 upon 60, 1 upon 5. Now what are you supposed to do? Total distance is 15 divided by 1 upon 5. Can I write it like this? Total distance is 15 and divided by total time. Whenever we have a fraction in the denominator, we prefer to write division in this way. This will help us a lot. अब क्या करेंगे? How do we divide? Reciprocate. So 15 times 5 over 1 or just 5 as well. 15 into 5 is, sab khud karo, even if others are giving me an answer. I expect everyone to do it on your own. And if you are unable to understand it, please let me know. Is this clear? Understand it rather than just. Now this is the part. This is an easy part. The bearing of Glanton from Foxby is 128 degrees. Where am I supposed to draw the north? Foxby pe, okay. One thing is very important. I've told you from Foxby keh raha hai na, Foxby pe north banega. Is that right? North on Foxby. I've told you people one thing, and I've told you in almost 90 to 95% of the questions that thing is provided, but it is a very important thing. What is the first thing that you're supposed to do? Line between both the points. In majority of the questions, those lines are already drawn, but if it is not there, the first thing that you are supposed to do is draw a line. Is this clear? Between Foxby and Glanton. In this question, do we have a line between Foxby and Glanton? So please make it a habit of always, even if the line is drawn, I urge you people to trace it again, because that line is important. So first is a line between Foxby and Glanton. And then the question said bearing from पूछा क्या है, given क्या है, from Foxby is given as 128. So if I draw a north on Foxby, Foxby पे north अगर बनाऊं, निकालना Glanton का ही, right? And take a clockwise angle. This angle is 128. Is that right, class? The angle that I've drawn is 128. Now, what about the angle that I need to find? Foxby from Glanton. So what will I do for that? North on Glanton. Very good. I'll draw a north on Glanton, and from the north, I am supposed to find the clockwise angle till the line that is important. Is that right? No. Observe this angle. There are many ways to do this. There are many ways to do it. Okay. अब बताओ. 180. Okay. This is one way to do it. What is that way? You draw this north parallel. आप इसको parallel stretch करें. If this is 128, so this angle will also be, it's an alternate angle, and you add 180. Another way, any other way? 180 plus 128 is one way. Any other way? Very good. Using interior angles, you can find this angle, which is 180 minus 128. And then you get this answer, 360 minus this answer, you will get your bearing. I'll do it both ways now. Please understand it instead of just finding out the answers. Understand why we are doing so. Pehla method aapne kaha 128 plus 180. What is the answer? What is the other way? First, 180 minus 128. What is this value, class? 52. And the bearing is 360 minus. Obviously, it will yield us the same answer. If it's not doing so, that means we are not using the correct method. Is this clear? Jab tak you don't draw it, jab you not doing it yourself and just watching the screen, it will not help you. Okay, now it's best if you have at least these pages printed out and you attempt it on the actual grids. I'll honestly advise you people, whenever you encounter such questions, kindly get these grids printed out and attempt it on these, on the printed form, so you understand how to do it in exams as well. Triangle A, B, and C are drawn on the grid, right? Fully the single transformation that maps triangle A onto triangle B. Take your time, observe, and then respond. Triangle A onto triangle B. It's not, it's a reflection. That is one thing. What are the parameters of reflection? Line of reflection. How do we find the line of reflection? We take an object. If this is an object, what is the image? Ye wala point. And the line of reflection is equidistant from both. The distance of the object from line of reflection is equal to distance of the image from the line of. So you draw a perpendicular bisector between these 2 points. I repeat, perpendicular bisector is a line that represents equidistant points from. ये बन रही है हमारे पास, एक मिनट. Yes, this is the line that you will get. First, you need to identify that it's a reflection. If you don't do that, we cannot proceed. Yes, it is a reflection. What is the line of reflection then? X is equals to -1. ये इस तरह की जो vertical lines होती हैं, इनकी equation x equals to करके हम लिखते हैं. Whichever point of x they are crossing. Is this clear to everyone or not? Let me know if anyone is unable to understand it. Clear hai? Do not just nod for the sake of nodding. Nod when you actually understand something. Describe fully the single transformation that maps triangle A onto triangle C. A onto C. First, it is a rotation. One thing you have identified, it is a rotation. 90 degrees clockwise. How did you identify it as a 90-degree clockwise? I've told you, use your fingers. आप इस तरह से देख सकते हैं. And you see that if you rotate it 90-degree clockwise, you get C. A onto C. Please read the wordings carefully. Sometimes the students tend to misread it. वो C onto A कह रहा होता है, and you misread it and you get to the wrong answer. A onto C, it is 90-degree clockwise rotation. What other parameter of rotation is left? Center of rotation. Center of rotation जितनी दूर object से होता है image से भी. Okay, now we'll try to find the center of rotation again by drawing perpendicular bisectors. First, I'll draw a perpendicular bisector between this object and this image, which is this line. I'll just color it green so that we can understand. Now we know the thing that you're supposed to think this way, that the center will be somewhere on this line. It's not reflection. I cannot just take a line of rotation and no way. Is this clear? The center of rotation will be somewhere on this line. Is this clear or not? Now let's take another 2 points और उनका भी आप perpendicular bisector बना दें. Again you'll use compass, that is safer way. या तो ये वाला object ले लो और ये वाला image ले लो, या ये ले लो and ये ले लो. I guess something like इस तरह से कुछ बनेगी. Something like this, class. Let me see. So we have 2 and 4. So 1 and 2. Something like this. Obviously, when you draw it with a compass, इससे ज़्यादा accuracy आएगी. Where these perpendicular bisectors intersect. 0 1 ही आ रहा था. Those who have done it. यही आ रहा है? Sure. 0 1 आ रहा है. Okay. Those who have drawn it will know better. मैं compass से मैंने नहीं बनाया ये. But you are supposed to draw a perpendicular bisector between the object and the image. You can take any other point. आप ये वाला point और ये वाला point ले लें. Or you take this point, and wherever these perpendicular bisectors meet, that is your center of rotation. So what will you write? The question says the single transformation that maps triangle A onto triangle C. It is a rotation 90-degree clockwise rotation about. Just writing this statement will give you 3 marks. Now think about it, compare it with the other topics. Are these an easy 3 marks or are these difficult 3 marks? You just need to be vigilant about it. Triangle D is the image of triangle A. After an enlargement, scale factor 2. With center of enlargement 1, 2. Draw triangle D. What is the center? 1, 2. Okay, I'll draw the center of enlargement. Okay, how do we draw enlarged figures? हम सबसे पहले क्या करते हैं? Point से line बनाते हैं object तक and we extend the line, right? We know because उसी line पे कहीं होगा. So first I will try to enlarge this point, this right angled point. अच्छा, can you tell me ये वाला point कहाँ जाएगा? Very good. This is an invariant point. ये यही रहेगा. तो do not forget this point. 3 vertices of A, तीनों corners of A जो हैं, उसमें से ये वाला corner यही रहेगा. Now we are trying to enlarge the second point. इसको extend कर दिया. Object से कितना दूर है ये? Center कितना दूर है object से? तो image कितना दूर होगा center से? 4. From the center 1 2 3 4. So इसका मुझे image मिल जाएगा. I'll draw the image. This will be the image. Is that right? Here we'll do it with the third point as well. Obviously, once you practice it well enough, you can do it directly as well. Line बना लेंगे, थोड़ी clarity आ जाए, गड़बड़ ना हम कर दें. यही आ रही है line center से. You can see the diagonal, 2 blocks right, 1 block up. So 4 blocks right and 2 blocks up. This is a point that we get. And eventually we can draw a triangle and label it as D. It will be double in size of A. Yes, class. This will be your triangle D. Is this clear? Good morning, class. I've just uploaded a video for congruency as well. You can understand congruency through that, but इसको जरा अच्छे से समझ लो. Congruency depends on the data. देख लो. Congruency proof. Once you prove that the two are equal, फिर तो आप कहते हैं कि this side is equal to that side, this angle is equal to this angle. Congruency में तो all corresponding lengths are same and all angles are same as well. But while proving congruency, you can only use the data that is provided in the question, or the data or the property that you are extremely sure of. For example, the angle between the radius of a circle and the tangent. 90, I know it's 90. I'll not say दिख रहा है, लग रहा है, it appeared so, it looked so. नहीं, I know it's 90. वो चीज हम कर सकते हैं. If I split the diameter into half, radius दोनों equal आएंगे नहीं आएंगे. Any length from the center to the circumference, it's a radius. All those lengths are same or not? इस तरह की properties you can use, but you should be sure about it. दिख रहा है, लग रहा है, कुछ नहीं होता कि सर है तो same. No. So understand this question and look at the data that has been provided. पहले तो उसने बताया AB and AC. If the question would not have mentioned it, we cannot assume it is a right angle triangle, no matter how obvious it looks so. Even if it is extremely obvious, you cannot assume it's an isosceles triangle. The question says so AB is equals to AC. मेरी वीडियो देखना कॉन्ग्रेंसी की, उसमें एक सवाल है, उसमें लग रहा है कि आइसोसेलेस है, बट उसमें भी आई हैव टोल्ड यू पीपल फर्स्ट यू शो कि हाउ यू फाइंड इट एज एन आइसोसेलेस ट्रायंगल, बिकॉज़ द क्वेश्चन डज नॉट स्टेट सो. सही है. सो ए बी एंड ए सी आर सेम. So the first thing that we will say is AB is equals to AC. The question says given in the and दोनों के एक राइट एंगल है, हम क्या कह सकते हैं, सी ट्राइंगल के नाम से CEA. Okay, let me write it this way. Angle CEA is equals to angle PDA. Again, this is also given in the that is not an issue. AEC and ADB, but D beach में आना चाहिए. The remaining 2 points must be from the triangle. Is clear or not? Okay. Now the next one. A is a common angle. Again, how do you name that A? आप कहते हैं angle CAE is equals to angle BAD, and it is a common angle. So what quantities you have used? One side, and you have used two angles. जरा गौर से देखना. एक चीज बता रहा हूँ, students often tend to ignore it in difficult questions. This was a side. Now observe the triangle. Sides की position important होती है. If this is a side, I am looking at triangle AEC. One of the angle is on this side, and the other one is opposite to the side. Is that right? ये देखना पड़ता है, कभी कभार दोनों उसी साइड पे lie कर रहे होते हैं, so even in the other triangle, both must lie on the same side. Same goes for this one. One of the angle is on this side, angle A, and the other one is opposite to this side. इसीलिए अब हम कह सकते हैं कि it is a congruent triangle. And what is the property class? Is clear, class? Students often tend to be in a hurry, and the moment they observe a right angle triangle, they go for RHS property. Do not do that. common angle है, whatever it is, it's the same. हाँ, सही है बच्चे? So it entirely depends on the data that has been provided in the question. The next question is about simultaneous equations. That's fine. Substitution is an always valid method. Doesn't matter. Don't worry. Don't worry. Substitution always valid method. हमेशा valid है. नहीं आएगा. If you practice it well enough, नहीं होगा. Obviously, it takes some time. But trust me, substitution is an always valid method. हमेशा valid होता है. Even in graphs of functions, क्या करते हैं हम graphs of functions में? Substitution करते हैं because उसमें elimination हो नहीं सकती है. उसमें we do not solve it, but जब करना होता है तो हम कहते हैं तो substitution ही है ना. What observe? किसको substitute subject बनाना चाहिए? First equation में से किसको subject बनाए? X plus 6y subject X को. Be smart about it. You have two equations and you have two variables in every equation. So पहले observe करो कि मैं किसको subject बनाऊं, which is the easiest one. Do not just pick up a pen and start doing it. मैं elimination भी समझा दूं. चलो, with this question I'll try to address both the methods so that you can understand in the future questions. पहले तो substitution. Observe किसको बनाना चाहिए subject, which variable should be made subject, and from which equation? First one में से. X is equals to, गौर से देखना, ये equation and the first equation, are they two different equations? No, they are the same equation, just written differently. So अगर मैं इसको दोबारा equation 1 में plug in कर दूं तो सब cancel हो जाएगा. It's very stupid of me to do the same thing. तो उसको निकाल के उसी में put कर दिया. So now what do? I substitute this in the other equation. The substitute the bracket minus 6y minus 2y is 10. 3 into minus 18y minus 2y is 10. Step by step, do not copy anything. Try to do it on your own and then verify. Minus 20y is, now minus 20 is being multiplied by y. If it goes on the other side, be careful when doing this in inequalities. When you divide by a negative value in inequalities, we flip the sign. Very good. Whenever we multiply or divide by a negative value in an inequality, we flip the sign. So y has a value negative half. Now I plug this in the first one because that's the easiest one. I can get the answer from any value. X is minus 6, y की जगह minus half. मैं बहुत बच्चों की तरह बता रहा हूँ. Positive 6/2. So the value of x is. Elimination में you need to understand that you can do any operation between two equations. पहले मैं elimination की छोटी सी बात समझाता हूँ. If I tell you A is 3, समझा रहा हूँ, B is 5. And if I tell you add both the equations, you add the left side with the left side and the right side with the, so you will say A plus B is equals to 3 plus 5, which is 8. If I tell you subtract both the equations, A minus B is 3 minus 5 is minus 2. If I tell you subtract B from A, B minus A is 5 minus 3, 2. So what are you doing? You are subtracting the left side from the left side and you're subtracting the right side from the right side. Okay, इसी तरह if I tell you A into B, left side से multiply हो रही है, so right side 3 into 5 is 15. If I ask you A upon B, 3 upon 5. Understand this. You can do any operation on two different equations, provided the fact that you do the same operations on the left side and the same operations on the right side. Now you decide the operation. Or direct take operation नहीं लगता, sometimes you take multiple operations. This is the concept of equations. Any operation can be done between two equations, provided the fact that same one makes sense, doesn't it? तो इसमें बात आउट ऑफ लॉजिक तो नहीं है ना? इज दैट राइट क्लास? ओके, नाउ इन दिस वन फर्स्ट वी डिसाइड कि पहले कोफिशिएंट्स इसमें हम सेम करने की कोशिश करते हैं. डू वी हैव सेम कोफिशिएंट्स क्लास फॉर आइदर एक्स और वाई? किसका कोफिशिएंट सेम करने की कोशिश करें? ओके, एक्स का. दिस वन ऑलरेडी हैज 3. इसमें 3 करने के लिए क्या करना पड़ेगा? we'll multiply by 3. Flags. We'll multiply by the first equation को तो हम क्या करते हैं? multiply by. So what does the first equation become? 3x plus 18y. Remember you multiply the right side as well. 0 3 से multiply के 0 हो गया. And 3x minus 18y. So this is the first equation. Now you decide the operation that you will conduct on both the sides. आप डिसाइड करें दोनों इक्वेशंस को ऐड करना है या सबट्रैक्ट करना है. पहले आई विल टेल यू थोड़ा सा डिटेल्ड मेथड, फिर उसका शॉर्टकट भी बताऊंगा. You want to eliminate 3x and 3x. दोनों 3x हैं. If I add them, will it be eliminated? तो क्या करना है मुझे दोनों को? मैं पहले थोड़ा सा अच्छा डिटेल्ड मेथड बता रहा हूँ. 3x plus 18y. X plus 18y minus 3x minus 2y is equals to right side पे भी 0 minus 10. This is technically this is what you are doing. पहले इस बात को जरा सब समझ लो. Is this clear or not? This is what you're doing. But what do you do? When you're doing it, आप ऊपर और नीचे कर रहे होते हैं. आपको मैं I'll go to that method as well. The pattern that we follow. हमें पता है कि हमने खुद ऑपरेशन डिसाइड किया था. 18y minus 3x plus 2y is minus 10. So 3x and 3x cancelled out. 20y is minus 10. Y is minus 10 over 20. तो y is negative half. Again आप इसको आप किसी भी इक्वेशन में प्लग इन करें. ये पहली वाली में इसमें ये सबसे आसान तो ये होगी कि आप फर्स्ट वन में कर लें. x plus 6 into minus half is 0. So x minus 3 is 0. X is 3. ये एक मेथड है. Now what do you people do? आप लोग इसको किस तरीके से करते हैं वो भी मैं बता देता हूँ. Obviously that is important. But understand this thing. This is the right way to do. If I have it like this, हम कहते हैं यहीं पे लिख लेते हैं. And we tend to subtract both the equations. Is that right? ऊपर नीचे देख लेते हैं. 3x से कैंसिल होके 0 बन जाता है. Now this is plus 18y. Minus will first multiply by minus plus 2y. This will become 20y. And 0 minus 10 will be minus 10. दोबारा बोलो. नहीं, थोड़ी माइनस से मल्टीप्लाई थोड़ी किया. हाँ, we decided the operation. Subtract both the equations. Yes, subtract. But this is what you are technically doing. इस बात को दिमाग में जरूर रखो ताकि whenever you get confused, you understand. Sometimes you also add. When do we add? जब coefficient तो same होते हैं, but both have different signs. Is this clear? If I would have had 3x at one place और दूसरे में minus 3x होता तो I would not have subtracted both. I would have added both the equations. Is this clear? So we have understood both the methods. Now I've told you people do not only insist on solving the question, understand the method that is associated with it. सिर्फ सवाल solve करना है तो marking scheme is enough. I should not be wasting my time. आप marking scheme देखते रहें, but you won't be able to do anything in the exam. Y is proportional to x minus 1 square. Now there are two ways to do this. Given that y is 18 when x is 4, find y when x is 6. First, the method that I do not like too much, but students are very much fond of it. I'll go with that method first. When I say y is proportional to x minus 1 square, when we remove the proportionality sign, we put in a constant x minus 1 का square. सही है? What is the first thing that you people do? Plug in the values. Y is 18. X is everyone. Sabka? Okay. I am telling you, people, verify the values on your own. K is 2. So y is equals to 2 bracket x minus 1 whole square. अब ये जो बच्चे students who are very much fond of it, I guess जून 2023 का एक सवाल है प्रोपोर्शनैलिटी का 2-3 का. काइंडली अटेम्प्ट दोस क्वेश्चंस. वो भी हो जाएगा इससे, बट उसमें जरा देखना पता चलेगा तुम लोग जून 2023 पेपर 1-2 और 2-2 में. हाँ, 2-3 है, y है ये x, तो उसमें बता रहा हूँ कि हाँ आई नो होगा, क्योंकि इफ यू दिस इज अ राइट मेथड, देयर इज नथिंग रॉन्ग अबाउट इट. हो जाता है अगेन, इस मेथड से भी हो जाता है, देयर इज नथिंग रॉन्ग अबाउट इट. करोगे अटेम्प्ट तो पता चलेगा. अटेम्प्टेड अगेन. Okay, let's see. Another thing is, when two quantities are directly proportional, their ratios are same, their ratios are constant. So I can say y1 upon x1 minus 1 का whole square is equals to y2 upon x2 minus 1 का whole square. What are the two quantities? Y and x minus 1. If they are directly proportional, their ratios are constant. If they are inversely proportional, their products are constants. You do it in physics as well. P1 V1 is equals to P2 V2. What is that? The product of pressure and volume. Why? Because pressure and volume for ideal gases are inversely proportional. That is exactly what you're doing. The product of one set is equal to, the product will remain the same. If you change one value, the other will also change, and eventually their product will remain the same. For inverse proportions, for direct proportions, their ratios are the same. आप एक change करेंगे quantity, the other will change, but the ratio of y and x minus 1 whole square will not change. Is this clear? So पहली y की value मैं y ले लेता हूँ जो मुझे नहीं पता. When y is y, x is 6. And when y was 18, x was, is that right or wrong? So y over 6 minus 1, 5 is 25. 18 over 9. So y is 2 ho gaya into 25, which is 50. And the other one as well, y is equals to 2 bracket 6 minus 1 whole square. So y is 2 times 5 square. Y is this clear, class? Please understand both methods. None of them is different from the other. It's just different way of approaching the same thing. Is this clear? So please do not treat different methods as an option. Sometimes the question wants you to develop an equation. उसमें तो फिर this one is useless. उसमें you have to go for this one. When the question wants you to develop an equation, उसमें आप equation दे develop. This one is more useful when you're dealing with two sets of values. इस पे ये है, so on the other one we have an unknown. सही है. और कभी कभार वो रिलेशनशिप ले आता है और अननोन, if one is k, the other one is k plus 2, फिर ये वाला और मुश्किल हो जाता है आपके लिए. So when the question wants you to develop an equation, this is the only way, using k. But if it has given you two sets of values with one of them as the unknown, this is the one that you can use. Is this clear? Okay, class. Most of you have an issue with these questions, so kindly observe them. On the grid, draw the graph of y is equal to 2. How do I draw the line of y is equals to 2? Anyone? यहाँ पे y2 है, वहां पे horizontal line. Is that right? Okay, class. What about the other one? The other one question is saying y plus x is equals to 4. It is a straight line. How many points do we need to draw a straight line? Two points are enough to draw a straight line. So when you're plotting y plus x is equals to 4, you can either tabulate if you want to. 2 points काफी होते हैं. कैसे tabulate करेंगे? I'll just explain. या आप डायरेक्ट कोऑर्डिनेट्स भी लिख सकते हैं, बट यू आर सो ऑब्सेस्ड विद टैबुलेशन. Okay, for example, x में 0 रख रहा हूँ. So what is the value of y? If I put x as 0, what is the value of y? 4. So I have one of, ये एक पॉइंट आ गया. और फिर मैं अगर y को फॉर एग्जाम्पल 0 रख लूँ, मैं एक पॉइंट अपनी मर्जी से प्लग इन कर सकता हूँ, वन कोऑर्डिनेट, एंड द अदर वन विल बी गिवन टू मी बाय द इक्वेशन. y 0 रखूँ तो x. Are both these points possible on the graph? 4 है. This is the line of y plus x is equals to 4. Okay, now class, on the grid, we need to find and label these inequalities. X plus y is less than or equal to 4. I've told you people for these questions, focus on the positive y. Positive y, किसी भी लाइन से अगर हम ऊपर जाते हैं तो ग्रेटर होता है, किसी भी लाइन से अगर नीचे जाते हैं तो वो. So that means for this one they are asking us which line is this, which color did we give this? Green one. ग्रीन वाली लाइन के और से देखो y लेसर और ग्रेटर है. लेसर y लेसर साइड पे तो नीचे ग्रीन लाइन के नीचे, below the green line, and this one above the which line? नहीं, green तो नहीं है. Black one, the already one that is already made in the question. So green के नीचे होगा कहीं, black के ऊपर होगा. y is less than equal to 2. Yes class. y यहाँ पे 2 है, इससे नीचे y 2 से लेसर होता है, एंड x is greater than 1. उसके आगे होगा हमारे पास x is greater than equal to 0. x is equals to 0. Where is x is equals to 0? What is? Very good. X is equals to 0 is the equation of y-axis. X is equals to 0 is the equation of y-axis. Is this clear, class? So which region will we end up with? यहाँ पे एक 0 है, इससे जाता हूँ. ओके, दोबारा देखो. Did you understand the first one? X plus y is less than equal to 4. Then 2y is greater than equal to x. Now the clear है? This is the line where 2y is equal to x on the black line. इससे ऊपर अगर जाऊंगा मैं, so y will be greater than x. Then the third one says y is less than or equal to 2. y 2 है या 2 से छोटा है, तो y will be below this purple line. Is that right? And the fourth one is saying x is greater than or equal to 0. X is equals to 0. Which line are we talking about? X is equals to 0. First, understand the lines. You cannot understand inequalities unless you understand the lines. What is the line? X is equal to 0. Line constant y-axis. Y-axis has an equation which is called x is equals to 0. If I ask you the equation of y-axis, that is x is equals to 0. So x 0 से बड़ा है, that means x is somewhere on the right of the y-axis. वहीं पे तो x 0 से बड़ा होता है या नहीं होता? Is this clear? क्वाड्रिलेटरल देखते हैं। This is the region that you will end up with, class. Am I right? Clear, class? Now we are moving on to again the easier questions. Factorize this. How do we factorize 4 terms? How do we factorize these 4 terms? कॉमन ले लेते हैं दो दो पेयर में, तो फर्स्ट 2 पेयर में से क्या चीज कॉमन, कैन वी टेक एनीथिंग कॉमन? ओके, एंड व्हाट आर वी लेफ्ट विथ? 3c plus, I've told you, जो भी आप whatever you're taking as common, you divide it by everything, because when you're opening the bracket, whatever is outside multiplies with every term. So whatever you're taking as common, it has to divide by every term. Now in these two, minus 2y, you divide minus 2y with minus 6cy, you're left with 3c plus minus minus se divide okay, plus 2b. Now you take the entire 3c plus 2b bracket as common, and you are left with x minus 2y. Okay, how do we factorize 3 term? We middle term break, we break the middle term, we get converted into 4 terms, and we follow the same process, right? So how do we break the middle term? 6 and minus 10, the product of 6 and minus 10 is? Now we need 2 numbers which we can write in place of plus 7, but their product must be minus 60. And I've told you people, whenever the product is negative, think about subtraction. 2 such numbers which you can subtract and get 7. 12 and 5, and their product is minus 60 or not? 2 numbers which you can subtract and get 7. So 6x square plus 12x minus 5x minus 10. Now from again 4 term, what can we take common from the first 2 terms? Khali x, 6x, and we're left with, and in the next one, if you're not writing this sign down, you have made a very major error. Minus 5 plus 2. Why did we get plus 2 to minus 10? Very good. If you're taking minus 5 common, you take minus 10 and you divide it by minus 5. जो चीज आप हर कॉमन ले रहे होते हैं उससे डिवाइड करते हैं हर टर्म को, so that when you expand you get the same thing. X plus 2 is one bracket and the other one is this clear, class? A car has a mass of 2400 kg, correct to the nearest 100 kilograms. A caravan has a mass of, first thing, whatever I told you how to attempt these questions, the first thing that you equation banao. Very good. How do you find the total mass? Mass of car plus mass of, so you are eventually adding both, and you need the lower bound of the total. So what will you do? दोनों का lower bound. Be clear about it. This equation will guide you what are you supposed to do with the measured quantities. So lower bound of, देखो, what operation are we doing to get the total mass? दोनों का ऐड करें. If I tell me the smallest possible value of the sum, तो आप दोनों का lower bound लेंगे, only then will you get the smallest possible value of the sum. It depends कि जब subtract हो रही होती हैं दो values, दो divide हो रही होती हैं, then we see एक का upper and एक का lower. Is this clear? So lower bound of car, how do we find the lower bound of car? 100 kilograms है, तो 100 divided by 2, which is 50. 50 minus करते हैं, 200, 400 minus 50 is good. Then we get the lower bound. of caravan, which is nearest 10 kilograms. 10 upon 2 is 5. So 1460 minus 5 is 1455. So total mass में दोनों का lower bound 2350 plus 1455. Yes, class. 38. इसमें do not round off in lower and upper bound questions. जो वो कहता है उसको उसी हिसाब से निकाल के just write down the answers. Now, very interesting questions and conceptual questions in this paper. 23 is A is this. Find the value of A. B is 4 exponent and the entire thing squared. Plus C is, one thing students do is convert the entire index notation or standard form into decimal values and then they do it. That is one of the most useless ways of solving this question. If you have to convert it into the actual decimal values every time, why did we study standard forms? All of this is useless then. One thing I tell you, the question says you give your answer in standard forms. The answer must be in standard form, but the steps or the calculations are not necessarily supposed to be in standard forms. You can come out of the standard forms in steps. So C ki D ki jagah I write 2 exponent. So first thing is squaring them gives me 16 exponent 4 plus 6 exponent. When adding or subtracting, we try to get them same exponents. या तो इसको exponent 3 कर लूं. Remember, this is one single value and this is one single value. Either I convert both of them in exponents of 3 or both of them in exponents of 4. Which one do you people want to do? Tell me. 4. Okay, ये तो already exponent 4 है. Exponent can be used in place of 10 to the power of these. All these words can be simplified as exponent. Is this clear? So 16 exponent 4 plus. Now, if you are increasing the exponent and you want to keep the number as same, you have to decrease the number. So you write it as 0.6 to make sure that the number की value वो change ना हो. Now what class? Okay. You take exponent 4 as common and you are left with 16 plus 0.6 upon 2 exponent. So 16 plus 0.6 is 16.6 and exponent 4 में से we can subtract 2 and we are left with 2 over here. So 2 divided by 16.6 separately कर लो इसको. 8.3 exponent 2. Is this a standard form? You leave your answer. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Obviously, उसमें आपको बाद में convert करना पड़ा होगा. I'll show that method as well. Don't worry. एक मिनट जो read कर रहा है. If you attempt a paper in this way, कि आप उसको समझ के एक चीज के हर method को देखते हुए करें, so trust me, next papers will be easy for you. But if you are just trying to get the marking scheme answer and matching it, तो फायदा नहीं है आपका. हर पेपर आपको एक नया चैलेंज देगा. Is this clear? 25 इसका थोड़ा सा ट्रिकी क्वेश्चन है, इसलिए पहले वो कर लें. ओके क्लास. This is the way that we did, and if someone wanted to convert it to exponent 16 exponent 3 plus, sorry, 160 exponent 3 plus 6 exponent. Now you can take exponent 3 as common and you're left with 160 plus 6 upon 2 exponent 2, and a is 166 exponent 3 upon 2 exponent 2. So a is 83 exponent 3 minus 2. So that is 83 exponent 1. Now it is not a standard form, so reducing the number and increasing the exponent, get the same answer. Is this clear? Rearrange the formula to make B the subject. Yes, class. D इधर divide और M आ जाएगा तो AD is B square plus C. AD minus C is B square plus minus root of AD minus C is B. I've told you subject जरूरी नहीं है right पे बनाया जाए. Please be open about it. Tell your brain that it is the same thing. Now this was a very interesting and conceptual question. M exponent 4 plus M exponent 2 gives me this. Can you first identify what your M is? Exponent 4 का क्या मतलब है? इसकी place value क्या है? बोलो. गौर से देखो, it is not just 6. Okay. और से प्लेस वैल्यूज देखते भी आप आइडेंटिफाई कर सकते हैं. एक्सपोनेंट 2 का क्या मतलब है? इसकी प्लेस वैल्यू 100 पे है. इज दैट राइट? व्हाट डू यू सी ऑन द 100 प्लेस वैल्यूज? 3 है. 3 है प्लेस वैल्यूज पे. एंड एक्सपोनेंट 4 मींस 10,000 पे, तो ये 3 है. बट दे आर टेलिंग यू पूरा नंबर ये बन गया. सो 100 प्लेस वैल्यू पे IF3, 10,000 पे भी IF3, उसके आगे 6 आ रहा है, उसकी तो अलग से प्लेस वैल्यू गिवन ही नहीं है. I'll tell you one thing. Place values तो जरा समझो. 36360. You can write it as 3 10,000 plus 6. बच्चों वाली बात बता रहा हूँ बहुत. 1,000 plus 3 100 6 10 and 1 unit 0 units. Do you understand this or not? बचपन में कभी किया होगा. But question is said कि उसने ये वाली प्लेस वैल्यू आपको दी ही नहीं. ना 1,000 वाली दी है, ना 10s वाली दी. Another way of writing the same number is 3.6 10,000s plus 3.6 hundreds. Can I do this or not, class? 6 tens को अगर मैं 0.6 hundreds कर दूं, is this right or wrong, class? That is what you have to observe and pick out from the entire question. You can break this number down either this way or this way. दोनों बातें समझ आ रही हैं बेटे या नहीं आ रही हैं? Still the same number, right? So this will help you understand what M is. What is M, class, in this case now? Now what is your M? 3.6. M is 3.6. Is this clear or not? 10,000 को I can write as exponent 4. 100 I can write as exponent 2. If बचपन में प्राइमरी में if you would have done this exercise or drill, ये बहुत जल्दी आप आइडेंटिफाई. ये वाली नहीं की थी, but this is what you people did. So now growing up, we can adjust it and convert it into this particular method or not, class? Make sense? सही है? So this will give you your value of M as 3.6. Now the question is says 3.6 exponent 4. इसको और करने के और भी तरीके हैं, but I prefer students कि अगर वो place values के concept से समझ लें, so that is a much more beneficial way. Again, subtract नहीं कर सकते जब तक exponent same ना हो. Which one do you want me to convert? Okay, so 3 और decimal हो जाएगा वो. 360 को कर लेते हैं exponent 4 और 2 minus. Now exponent 2 is common. 360 minus 3.6. Can you do it for me, class? When subtracting decimals, decimal के नीचे decimal लिखना. No worries, no worries, no worries. दोबारा समझाओ. एक decimal से it becomes 36. When you move another decimal, it becomes 360. बता रहा हूँ, एक मिनट वेट करो. 360 and you need to subtract 3.6. तो decimal के नीचे make sure करो कि you write the decimal and then you subtract. Okay, पहले understand this thing. You can break any number into different components according to its place values. Is this clear or not? Three. This is not a standard form. 3.564 exponent 4. This is a standard form. Next is matrices. Class. Next is vector subtraction. 5 minus 4, 1 minus minus 2, 2 minus 3, and 3 minus 0. So what is the vector that we get when you subtract m from n? 1, 3, minus 1 and 3. Well done. Now the next part is asking us the value of C and D. Okay, class. PQ. What does this mean? PQ का मतलब क्या है, class? P is being multiplied by Q. 2, 4, C and minus 5. And Q is 3, 2, minus 2 and 3. So if we multiply them, we get this matrix. How do we multiply matrix? Yes. First, let's multiply the first row with the first column. 2 will multiply by, the first row is 2, 4. 2 will multiply by 3 plus 4 will multiply by minus 2. Then first row, this is first row and second column. So take the first row and multiply it by the second column. 2 will multiply by 2 plus 4 will multiply by D. देखो ना, first row and second column. Then second row and first column, 3 will multiply by C. 3 will multiply by 3 plus negative 5 will multiply by negative 2. Second row and second column, C will multiply by 2 plus negative 5 will multiply by D. Yes, class. So what is the answer? Can anyone tell me the simplified answer? I already know. I do not need to go for the values. 3, ये तो already पता है, -2 आएगा. This is 4 plus 4D. This will be 2C minus 5D. And this is 3C plus 10. We already know the vector PQ, do we? Vector PQ is -2, 0, 19, and 11. So I can take this 4 plus 4D, and I know that 4 plus 4D was supposed to be 0. Can you find D? What is the value of D? -1. Similarly, 3C plus 10 was supposed to be 19. Is that right? So what is the value of सही है ना, 3c plus 10 ही है ना, 9, so the value of c is 3. Now this one, a very easy question. Kindly read the question before. Even in the coordinate geometry, I've told you focus on understanding. In order to make equation of a straight line, what two things do you need? Yes, class? In order to make the equation of a straight line, what two things do you need? Gradient. इसलिए तो फंस जाते हो, फिर y इंटरसेप्ट ढूंढने जाते हो तो. Gradient and any one point on the line. Any one point on the line. Do I have the point on the line? I am supposed to make the equation of the tangent. Do I have a point on the line? 3, 5. So I'm not worried about the point. Now, what other thing do I need? I need the gradient of this tangent. Can I find the gradient of the radius CP? Do it, class. M of CP निकाल रहे हैं. y2 minus y1, 5 minus 1 upon x2 minus x1. So what is the gradient of CP? So gradient of tangent will be, tangent and radius are perpendicular. For perpendicular lines, the gradients are same? No way. Yes, you can either use m1, m2 is -1. ये एक और तरीका हम क्या कहते हैं? They are negative reciprocals of each other. So you reciprocate and you change the sign. So if CP का gradient is 4/3, the gradient of tangent is -3/4. You already know the point y minus y1. This is the best way to make an equation. Y minus 5, m is this, x minus 3. This is your answer. Coordinate geometry की वीडियो में पूरा ही समझाया मैंने. Trust me on this when I tell you this is the easiest way to make an equation. Yes, y equals to mx plus c is a very useful form, but equation बनाने के लिए this is the easiest way. M is your gradient. y1 and x1 are the points you plug in. And if you observe closely, gradient के formula को change करके बनाया. What is the gradient formula? y2 minus y1 upon वही x2 minus x1 को यहाँ लाके cross में हमने multiply करा दिया. What else is changed? This is called the point gradient equation. You can use this to make the equation of a line. This is an equation of a line. Don't worry about it. The question is not asked you in a particular form. You can leave your answer like this. This is the equation of a line. If you want to convert it into mx plus c, there is nothing wrong about it. But this is one way to leave the equation as well. For perpendicular lines, either we use this equation, m1, m2 is -1 for perpendicular lines. और एक आसान तरीका क्या होता है? We say that the gradients are negative reciprocals of each other. Is this clear, class?